Chapter 17, Phoenix. Naruto, after 2 years. It had been 2 years since Naruto had arrived on Mount Myaboku. He had started training a week again after he had arrived. First only chakra control, and Jiraiya-sensei would throw things at him sometimes when they were training him. Naruto couldn't remember the last time he felt so happy. Not being in the village and seeing him as a monster for 2 years helped. A part of Naruto wasn't really looking forward to going back to the village. He knew that the people there had not forgotten about him despite not being in the village. Tojiji would visit every 4 to 6 months and stay for mainly 3 weeks. Naruto liked his company. Fukasaku-sama and Masen were good company as well. But Naruto spent the time mainly with Fukasaku since he was training him in taijutsu. Naruto had met different toads that lived here, like the head of the toads, Gabamunta. He found him funny but sometimes really annoying. His son Gamakichi, who was a friend to Naruto. Within the last 2 years, Naruto had trained and learned quite a few useful jutsus. Naruto hadn't made much progress when it came to his wood style since he had no scrolls to help him, and no one was around to teach him in wood style. But Naruto was able to do 2 wood style jutsus. Wood style, ground spike. B rank. A jutsu that made wood spikes grow from the ground around the area the user chooses can grow as large as the amount of chakra that the user uses. Wood style, wooden cage. C rank, B rank. It creates a cage used to trap the enemy. The woods can come out from Naruto's sleeves or from trees nearby. It can be grown from the ground, but it requires more chakra. The cage can absorb the chakra of whoever is inside at a plodding pace. When it came to his chakra control, he now could keep a leaf on his forehead, keep 5 kunai on the point of his fingers, and stay upside down in a tree, and sometimes the same while staying on the water. Now Fukasaku-sama started training him in taijutsu, running around the mountain like a slave, 200 runs without stopping, wearing weights that were 50 pounds on his legs and 30 pounds on his arms. Tojiji always said that he would get stronger with a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, and plenty of juice. Strong like his father and mother. Naruto was sitting in water, his legs crossed, 5 kunai in the tip of the fingers of his right hand. A leaf on his forehead, Kurama was giving him a bit of his chakra, which made it harder to control his chakra. Controlling both his and Kurama's chakra was more challenging, but Furball stated he needed to get used to his chakra before he moved to 1 tail worth of chakra and more tails. Fukasaku was close, and keeping an eye on the young boy, he could feel the Kyuubi's chakra leaking from Naruto. He was still impressed to see that the Kyuubi would ever be a friend with anyone. But still, he was happy for it, and Naruto would need his help against Akatsuki. Naruto's eyes were red, and looking at Fukasaku, who had a cane in his right hand, staring at him. Naruto kept focused and tried not to make mistakes in his training. Tojiji promised to start training him on elemental manipulation once he can do chakra control exercises while using Kurama's chakra. So far, so good, and Naruto couldn't wait to start elemental manipulation. The other jutsu he knew was 1 fire jutsu, 2 water jutsu, and 1 wind. He still didn't know any earth jutsu. Fire style, fireball. Water style, bullet point. Water style, shockwave. Wind style, great breakthrough. When it came to Fuin jutsu, he was in level 4, and it took him 7 months to pass level 3. To pass level 4, Naruto needed to ride a trap seal, chakra-flowing seal, and weight seals. He was sure he was close to completing a chakra-flowing seal. That seal could be used to block someone's chakra flow and storage chakra to use later. Naruto had noticed that his Tojiji had avoided talking about the village, sometimes just trying to change the subject. Naruto had asked how Jiji was and how the village was in general. Naruto didn't care that, but he still asked, but every time he asked that, Naruto could feel the feeling of fury coming from Tojiji. Naruto didn't know why and didn't try to force him to answer. Hokage Gigi had sent a few letters asking him how he was and if he enjoyed it there. Naruto, of course, said yes, since here no one looked at him with hatred, he didn't need to watch around every corner when he was outside. Naruto felt free in Mount Myaboku, and having no one to call you demon was a relief. You're done now, Naruto. He looked at Fukasaku, who made a gesture for him to stand up. Naruto nodded and stood up on his legs. He was wearing a dark shirt with the symbol of fire on the chest, a tight red jacket reached his waist. His mother's sword tightened behind his back. Naruto was still young to use it, but he wanted to have it around. Fukasaku had told him he could teach him a few things about kenjutsu, but not much. Naruto had a few books about kenjutsu, but it wasn't the same as having an experienced teacher to teach you. Tojiji said he could start training on kenjutsu once he starts the academy. He wanted Naruto to complete or at least get close to completing his chakra manipulation for his affinities for the last 2 years he had left here. And if possible, be able to use 1 tael worth of chakra. Even Kurama had agreed to that. Now that you're done with that, we can start with a spar, Fukasaku-sama suggested. Naruto smiled at that since it had been a few months since he had wanted to start training for real. Follow me, he said, and Naruto followed behind, looking around. His mind went to what Kurama had told him about the other bijou in the world. Naruto had been curious about the other bijou and wondered how they were and what kind of character they had. Naruto was back at his mindscape. It had been 3 months since he arrived in Mount Myaboku. The forest was back how it was before. Kurama was lying on the grass behind the cage. He looked to be sleeping, but one of his eyes was slightly opened, looking at Naruto's form walking towards him. Naruto frowned every time he saw the damn cage. He had asked Kurama if he could open the seal, but he told him that even if he could, he wasn't ready yet. Kurama, one thing I have been wondering, you said your brothers and sisters were captured by the first Hokage. Who are they? And where are they? Naruto asked curiously with his hands behind his head. He knew that there were 9 bijou out there, but he wanted to learn more about them. Kurama raised his eyebrow slightly but felt slightly happy that Naruto wanted to know about them. As you know, there are 9 of us. Shikaku, One-Tail Raccoon, my youngest brother. He always liked to fight and always a bit cocky, hell almost as much as me. His abilities are to control sand. Matatabi, the Two-Tails cat, she wasn't really into fighting. Her abilities were to be able to use blue flames. They're 5 times hotter than normal flames, but Matatabi, well, she is. How can I say this? Kurama didn't really know how to say that to a little kid. I will tell you later. Next is Isabu, the 3-tails turtle. He was always calm and quiet one and always liked water. After all, his techniques are water jutsus. Son Goku, the 4-tails monkey. Naruto raised his eyebrow at the name. He could have sworn he had heard that name before. Naruto shrugged his shoulders and decided to listen to Kurama. Son is wise but irritating. His ability is lava release. Then is Kokuo, the 5-tails horse. He is more like a free spirit. He doesn't like when someone tries to tell him what to do and likes to run. And easy to make friends with. His ability is boil release. Then is Saiken, the 6-tails slug. He's quiet and cooperative and always likes to find a non-combat way to fix problems. His ability is to use acid that can melt everything. If you ever meet his Jinchuriki, be careful. He's top 4 bijou and should not be taken lightly, Kurama warned. And Naruto nodded and knew Kurama wouldn't call just anyone dangerous. Then is Komiai, the 7-tails beetle. She's a positive one. She always called herself Lucky 7 or other annoying names like that. She was friendly and always liked to talk and crack jokes. She can fly and use insects. Then is Gyuki, the 8-tails octopus. Last time I checked, he didn't really get along with humans, but it has been hundreds of years since we talked. His head is strong as a rock but can crack jokes here and there. Can use ink release and his horns can be dangerous. Kurama finished, then stood in all his 4 with his 9 tails showing behind him like mountains, and finally me. Kurama, the 9-tails demon fox, the strongest, he stated with a smirk. Naruto chuckled at his words and smiled at him. Kurama then remembered one more that he didn't mention, but Naruto didn't need to know about him. Naruto noticed his feelings but decided not to ask why he was feeling a bit of fury but fear at the same time. Thank you for telling me, Kurama. I hope you can meet again with your siblings, Naruto said, and himself hoping he could meet someone like him. You're welcome. One more question? Bijus are very strong, but the animals in summoning contracts are strong as well. Is there any summoning that is stronger than any of the Biju? Naruto asked curiously since he was living with the toads and wondered how strong they could be. Kurama rested his head on his paws and looked directly at Naruto. There was one. Your clan actually possessed that summoning contract long ago but was lost when Yuzu was destroyed, Kurama stated with melancholy in his tone. Naruto was surprised by his tone and walked closer. Which one was it? Naruto asked since the summoning contract belonged to his clan. Kurama turned his eyes to Naruto. Phoenix contract and the head of Phoenix contract. Hiwa, Peace, was the strongest animal that wasn't a Biju. She was stronger than Sun, 4 tails, but weaker than Kuku, 5 tails, but mostly dependent on where you fought her. I fought her once, and gave me a very good hit that I still remember, said with a slight chuckle at the end. Naruto smiled and wondered where the contract was and if he could ever find it. Naruto escaped his thoughts when he felt something touching his legs. He looked down to see Fukasaku-sama staring at him. Talking to him again? He asked, already used to Naruto's zoomed-out habits whenever he talked with the Kyuubi. No, just was remembering something, Naruto replied, slightly embarrassed and wondering where other Bija were and where the Jinchurikis were and if they lived like him or maybe even worse. Oh well, time to train, he stated and moved further back from Naruto. He understood it and moved his hands and legs in a position to fight. I will win Databao, Naruto said, smiling at Fukasaku. Naruto moved first with his fist aiming at the toad, and he quickly jumped much faster than Naruto predicted and hit him in the head with his cane. He quickly moved away and narrowed his eyes. He always knew Fukasaku was stronger than he let on, but now he understood he was much stronger. Very well, Naruto whispered and moved faster than before, caughting Fukasaku by surprise, who jumped to avoid his fist, but Naruto jumped as well and moved his right leg towards his body. He used his cane to block it when a second leg came from his right. He dodged it quickly, landed on the ground, and rushed towards Naruto faster than before. Later. After hours of training, Naruto was panting. His fists had marks and bleeding a little, a few bruises on his face and stomach. His weights are still on his body. Despite the pain, he refused to stop. Fukasaku looked at him with interest, wondering if Naruto would call it a day or not. Then Naruto did a hand seal when blue chakra started flowing through his body. He smirked and rushed at the toad twice the speed. Fukasaku was surprised and tried to dodge when Naruto raised his fist above him. In the last second, Fukasaku moved away, but when Naruto's fist touched the ground split, causing a crater to appear. The dirt moved around the air, little rocks fell in the ground, and Fukasaku was sure he must have seen it wrong. The crater was as large as Naruto. He stood there panting, standing in all his four, his knees touching the ground. His face was full of dirt. Fukasaku moved closer when Naruto lost consciousness and fell to the ground tired. What was that? That was quite a fist. Fukasaku thought and moved closer to the sleeping Naruto. He usually was quiet, but now Naruto was snoring. The old toad smiled and decided to put him back in his bed. He needed to rest, and Jiraiya needed to know about this.
Alright, guys, this is gonna be part 14 of What If Naruto Was the Red Flash. I hope you guys enjoyed this part, and if you did, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and 902 subscribers. We're almost to that 1,000, and when we get there, I'm gonna do a 2-hour special. And as always, I don't own this, and I will see you guys in the next part. Bye.